the most important thing on social media, representing yourself as an artist, is to just be yourself. Um, First and foremost, be honest and real. And if it goes off, good. If it doesn't, oh well. It's like you can't change who you are to try and chase that thing. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
can kind of change techniques. You can follow some trends if you want, or do camera techniques or whatever. But you can't change who you are to suit the algorithm. I don't think, I don't think it's a winning strategy myself.
no, and I think it. I wasn't in the chat a long time, but I was long enough time to say, yeah, next week we're just going to have the exact same podcast, and
Yeah.
that was what I was referring to.
Right. Right.
But I think that it's very easy to say that you have to be yourself on social media, and it's kind of a little bit more difficult to do.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. What if you're an
one
asshole?
of yeah, but I mean that's perfect. Assholes do great
That's
on
true.
social media,
That's true.
uh, and it's not just about being yourself, but uh, first of all, I think that artists generally have a huge advantage when it comes to social media because our art is, in a way, an extension of ourselves.
Hmm.
And if people find our art interesting, they will likely find our personality interesting in
True.
some way.
Hmm.
So you don't have to chase the memes. You
Right.
don't have to chase the trends. You probably shouldn't unless it's your personality, and then you should just jump into it. But then it becomes a question of how do you show yourself? And I'm pretty lucky because I like talking. I like talking to a camera,
Hmm.
and people apparently like listening to me talk. But there are a lot of artists who, for instance, are really awkward at talking.
Yeah.
And when they sit down and think, I can just talk to the camera and everything will be okay, that's not going to work
Right.
because then you need another angle.
That's
And
true. Good
hmm,
point. Yeah, that's a
that
good
angle
point.
can be, it can be, doing uh, videos where you don't talk,
Right.
doing that are written that are just you staring out the window at the rainy day. It can be fun
Hmm.
things. It can be whatever angle you can choose to show your personality and sort of what you need to do. What you need to do. What people. What works is to try to experiment with the different vantage points you can show yourself from.
Hmm.
And then when something fits, then play around with that
Yeah.
and just find interesting ways to be yourself. Not
Right.
because
Yeah, that's
be yourself,
right.
it doesn't really mean anything.
Right. Yeah, I guess a better way to say it would be authentic. I think authenticity is very important when with artwork, as especially with artwork, with creating artwork, being authentic to me is like the most important part of it, or one of the most important aspects of it. But yeah, it's important to experiment and use your creativity as an artist to making videos and presenting
Hmm.
yourself in a certain way, or presenting
Yeah.
your artwork in a certain way, using the creativity that you use to create your artwork. Just shift it towards, how do I make interesting videos, in the same way you'd go, how do I make an interesting painting or drawing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Uh, and I guess this is a little different if you do abstract art or other non-figurative art, but
Hmm.
for us who do more story-based art, that's all social media is. It is a storytelling vehicle.
Right.
And I mean, I was talking to a social media friend, and he didn't know why people didn't react to his videos. And you look at his videos, and it's um, showing the whole painting first and just filming it, and then going into the interesting point.
Hmm.
Now, if you do it the other way and you start with the interesting
Right.
point and then you reveal the whole painting, then you have a story.
Right. Right.
It,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be more
That's so,
complicated
yeah,
than that.
that's very true. Very true.
It's just taking the storytelling skill that you hopefully have in other parts of your art and then applying it to how you show yourself,
Right.
even though it's often uncomfortable to have to show yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to get over it. You just got to get over that uncomfortable, it's like there was a certain point where I was seeing early on, I was seeing pictures of myself at shows, that people took that were posting, and I was like, oh man, I look so bad. I look like shit. And then at a certain point, I'm just like, get over it. You just, if you don't like the pictures of yourself, don't look at them. This is what you got to do. And so I just don't pay attention to them now. Not that they're like everywhere, but I mean, when I see them, I'm just like, you know, okay, I don't want to see a picture of myself or listen to the podcast. I don't even listen to the podcast because it's like I don't like
I,
listening to
I I
myself talk.
never I never listen to myself. That's the worst.
Well,
Pictures of myself I absolutely love as long as they show me from my good side,
yeah,
which
right.
is the outside.
I'll tell you though, what one thing I noticed from your videos is, they're very clever, they're very interesting. It's like you have a good voice. And as an American, your accent is kind of intriguing, and it's so unique that I like listening to it because it's different. It's not a normal accent you hear for Americans. You know what I mean? It's really different. And you have I'm just trying to judge it from a social media perspective. You've got an interesting look, I'm all about the long-haired hairy guys. I
Yeah,
like seeing the long-haired hairy guys that are not like Nazis succeeding in the space.
good point.
They kind of co-opted our look, but I even think the way you are posed in a lot of your videos, where your head is at an angle and at the side, is very interesting. You know what I mean? It's like you're not like looking straight in the camera. It's like your head is cocked and it's at an angle. And I just
Yeah.
looking at that from an artistic eye, I was like, that's an interesting. It's very recognizable as your style of videos. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's kind of a brand, almost like a branding thing, and it's really cool.
I think people sort of underestimate how much time and effort it takes to look that confused at every start of every video. I mean, I mean, like at least 20% of the filming time is just me go
Right.
just to get which sounds silly, but it is to get that uh, like it seems like we're starting in the middle of a conversation.
Right. Yeah.
And if I get that flow right, that confusion right,
Mhm.
then the rest usually works.
Yeah. Yeah, they're great. They're great. And your artwork's really cool too. I really
But so,
I
so
I admire
it's
you.
not coincidental that I'm always looking like I'm in the middle of it. You just interrupted me while I was doing this. Hello, are you here?
Yeah, right. That's true. Yeah, but it looks good though. It just uh uh compositionally looks interesting. It looks more interesting than if you were just like kind of straight on, just kind of, I don't know. It's not that important. It's just like little things I was noticing about your
But
videos.
but actually, I think that those types of small things are more important
Definitely.
in social media than you'd think. It
Yeah.
is about just in the first few seconds. People call it like the hook or
Right.
whatever, but it's not just a hook. It is presenting yourself in what you call an authentic way in the first few seconds, in a way that's recognizably
Yeah.
you. And my whole spiel with looking confused and babbling a little bit in the beginning wouldn't work if I wasn't a profoundly confused and babbling individual.
Right.
But
See, it's
so it's
authentic.